in live person. This is more like theater. All right, so getting started with Golang, and I'm not sure how many slides we have here, but we'll start powering through them. Right, we already saw this, but unless you speak Genius, Go can be harder-ish to learn from the docs. That was my experience last spring, and it was awesome to have somebody to show me the way this summer. And so, like here's an example of it being harder-ish to learn from the docs. The init function, finally, each source file can define its own nalatic init function. Nalatic, what's nalatic? To set up whatever state is required. Actually, each file can have multiple init functions. And finally means finally. Init is called after all the variable declarations in the package have evaluated their initializers. And those are evaluated only after all the imported packages have been initialized. Like when I first read that, like I was looking for an answer and I just got more questions, right? And so that was like, my experience. Like, oh, that's kind of harder-ish to learn. So nalatic, how many people know what nalatic means? Let me see your hands. Sweet, one, I love it. You want to, Corey, take a stab at nalatic? What's your understanding?
It doesn't return anything?
Yeah, so nil, right? It just doesn't return anything. Oh, it's nalatic. But, I had to go kind of like, okay, what's nalatic mean when I read that? Go figure that out. So this is what I kind of pictured learning Go from the docs is like. It's like just going over the edge down the most difficult run. And Caleb even says, Go is a very well documented programming language, but this documentation can be difficult to understand unless you are already familiar with programming languages and have a fair amount of experience. So hopefully this is what learning Go will be like in this course, right? Where we have, I guess that'd be Daniel and I and Shin and your fearless leaders up front, like showing you the way down the hill. Not quite so bad. I like this from South Park. Phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, not sure. Phase 3, profit. But no. My goal is to make it easy to learn Go. I want to provide Tony Gaddis, who's a computer textbook author that I really like, quality learning materials for Go, and I want Go to become a popular, widespread language. So I want to help that happen. Interesting journey. It's just kind of fun to be on something that's new and growing, and I don't know. Just because, it's interesting because there is a growing interest in it, and so that opens a lot of doors and opportunities. Like I've been asked to present now, me, right, at Silicon Valley Code Camp in October. So I'm going to be presenting on Go up there, and then I have another opportunity I just can't talk about yet, but it's kind of cool. And I'm just, a relative newbie to this stuff, so not that far ahead of you. So how do we install Go? You could go there to a document that will say this is how you install it, and you download it from that link, and then you run a SHA checksum. How many people do not know what a SHA checksum is? Raise your hand. Okay, cool, sweet. And so SHA checksum is a hash algorithm. And Daniel, anytime I say something wrong, or anybody, if you think I'm saying something wrong, just say, I think you're saying that wrong, because I'm learning too. And hopefully I'm a few steps ahead of you so I can show you what I've already learned. But if I say something and you have a different understanding, absolutely correct me. Because the main goal here is for all of us, including myself, to become better, stronger, more accurate, more precise, do it the right way. So if at any time I say something that's wrong. So SHA-1 is like a hash algorithm. And a hash algorithm, what's a hash? Like when I hear the word hash, I either think of weed, right, in Amsterdam, or I think of going out to that diner, Herndon and 99, Klein's Diner, right? And the hash that you get out there is really good shit, man. No, I'm kidding. The hash you get out there is just like a bunch of stuff, onions and potatoes and whatever, just all chopped together. And it's like, here are your eggs, here's your toast, here's your hash, right? And I don't know, that's what I think of with hash. And so a hash algorithm is kind of like in the same way. It's like, let's take a whole bunch of stuff and just chop it up and have an outputted result. And anytime you run a hash algorithm against a chunk of code, it will always give you the same result. Always give you the same result. And so SHA-1 is a type of hash that you can run, and it's a checksum. And to run it, you just hope, and I'm going to give all Unix Mac commands, right? So if you're running Windows, then you need to download GitHub or some sort of Unix shell emulator, terminal emulator, and run your Unix command on Windows through a Unix terminal emulator. Yeah, so the Git Bash terminal is the one I'd recommend, and I could show you how to do that. But you basically would download GitHub, install GitHub, on Windows, and then go into the settings, and you can change the settings. In settings, there's a place where you can say instead of command prompt, I want the git bash terminal or something like that. So you go into the terminal and you run that command, and you just basically type in OpenSSL SHA-1 and then path to the file. And you can see I've done that here. So I'm in in my downloads folder, and I've downloaded up there in the top right go 1.4.2. whatever, right? So that's my file that I'm going to install. And so then I do OpenSSL and SHA-1, and then I type go 1, and I just hit tab, and it completes it. So I don't have to type all that, and it runs it, and it gives me this hash. So it took all of the binary that was in this file, and it did a crypto whatever algorithm, right? And it produced this unique string of characters, whatever that is. And that unique string of characters is going to match right here. The file I downloaded on the Go website, they have, here's your SHA-1 checksum, and that SHA-1 checksum right there will match 8FDE619, right? And then 8FDE619 matches, right? And so I know that the code that they intended for me to receive is the code I actually received. And if my checksum did not match their checksum, then somebody tampered with the code, or I didn't get the file they intended, and I should be suspect of it, right? Maybe it got intercepted, modified, whatever. But that's a way to ensure that what I'm installing is what they wanted me to install, and that it didn't get a man-in-the-middle attack where somebody intercepted the file, added their own code, and then passed it on to me. So that's one of the things that was really awesome this summer. Is Caleb's like a rock star with security and cryptography and all that stuff. So once you've installed it, you're going to test the installation. You can do that at the terminal just by typing in go version. There's no -- version. Go is a command, and you just type go. And once go's installed, you could put in commands. And so here's go version. I type go version. I get go 1.4.2. It's actually 1.5 now. The new release just came out last week. Last Tuesday, I think. Yeah. And so it's the 6th stable release of Go. And so once you have Go installed, you have access to all these Go commands, and you can see all the Go commands at that URL. And so here they are. And you can see the usage, and this is the docs. And up there we have Go command and then brackets arguments. Those brackets mean optional. That's Bacchus nor form. Anybody heard of that? Raise your hand. Bacchus BNF, Bacchus nor form. Oh, dear God, help you. How is it that, like, I didn't study comp sci and I know this stuff, and you guys had all these other classes with faculty who did study comp sci, and you don't know BNF or eBNF? Anyhow, that makes me feel, okay, all right, cool. I'm offering value. That's good. I'm earning my paycheck, right? But BNF is sort of how you, and you're going to see a little bit of BNF, but BNF is how how you document a language. And then knowing how to read BNF is helpful when you start looking at the docs. And so those brackets just basically mean, hey, this is optional, right? Optional arguments. And so the commands are like, and here I could substitute command, go command, with any of the commands. So I could say go build, and that would run at the terminal. Or I could say go version, which we just saw, right? And that runs at the terminal. I could say go install, and that runs at the terminal. I could say go format, and that runs at the terminal, and that all has things that it will do to either build or install or tell me the version or format my code, right? So that's the first thing. What's up?
Okay. What if we want to update the version of Go that we have?
Just download it and install it
Just
again.
install it
Yeah,
again.
you don't have to uninstall it. Just overwrites the old stuff. Chime in.
You should uninstall before putting in the new one, but you shouldn't have to change any other settings. You should just be able to remove the old thing and put the new one.
How would you uninstall? Would you just go delete the folder and use
Yes.
your local Go, delete the folder?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Do that. What's up?
If we take Ruby or some other language, if we run command like update, they will update the latest version of all packages and language. Can't we have any command like that in Go?
Did you catch that? Say that again, please.
In Ruby, if we want to update the Ruby version, we'll run the command like update.
Okay, so Ruby is, we're not going to talk about or use Ruby in this class. If you want to use Ruby, good luck to you, Godspeed.
Yeah. No, Go doesn't have a package manager
Oh,
for
like
itself
Ruby.
like Ruby does. So
Okay.
you can't update it with the command line command. You just have to remove it and download the new version.
If you want this too. I'm not using it. Maybe we'll roll back and forth. And then so we have go command arguments, and then we also have go help command down here at the bottom. And so we're going to see a little bit about each of those too. So here's so you go help and then command. And interestingly, this is in quotes, and so that kind of changes things a little bit. Go help. So go help is a tool for managing. So you get the terminal, you can just type in go help, and then you actually get this screen, go command arguments, and there are the commands. And then you also go help command, and then, okay, all right. So go command, and you can run the commands, and then go help and a command will tell you help about it, and then go help and topic will tell you one of these topics. And so for topic right here, you could use go help and then any of these topics right there, right? I wish I had some way to notate here, but you could use right here, these are topics. So I could type in go help C, and I'd learn about C. So let's just see that. Go help C. And there are two different ways to call between Go and C code, right? Or I could say go help packages. And I can learn about any of these topics down here in this list right here, right there, by typing in go help and then just any of that topic, right? Likewise, I could use go help command to learn about any of these commands. So these are the commands, and I could run go help and then any one of those. Does this make sense? Go help install. Whoops, go help install. And there, usage go install, and then some more brackets tells me some optional stuff. So that's how the go help works. I can either enter a command or I can enter a topic. So one of the things I really want to sort of convey is how do I work with the docs, and so and how do I get help, and what's the difference between godoc.org and golang.org, and stuff that was kind of giving me some confusion last semester. I got clear on over the summer, and I want to pass that along so that you know how to understand things and read and research and get answers. And so one of the places. So you've learned one thing so far, a couple of things. You've learned SHA-1, checksum, hash, right? And you've learned go command, and I could use any of those commands like go version. And you've learned go help, and I could put the command and get help on that command. So go help tool, go help run, any of that. And then go help topic, right? So I could go help go path, go help packages, and I get it for the topic, right? So topic. So I just want to make sure you're getting all that. How many people are with me? Cool. So this would be an exercise you could try at home, and I'm not sure if I signed it. I think I didn't start giving exercises at homework till like presentation 10, but you could run go help at the terminal, and then run go env at the terminal. So if I type in go env at the terminal, go env, right? I get all of my environment variables, my path variables, and that are related to Go. So I could also just run env at the terminal, and that gives me all of my environment variables for my system. And you can see, like, in those environment variables is go root down there at the bottom and go path, right? And those are super important. Those are like two environment variables that have to absolutely be set for Go programming, and we'll talk about what those are in a second. And then at the end of my normal path file up here, you could also see I have user local go bin, and I thought I had one too, user tmo2 documents, there we are, go bin. And so when I compile my programs, it puts the compiled code, the binary, right, binary compiled code, it puts that into my bin folder of my workspace, and you'll learn what that stuff is, or it'll be reviewed to you. And because I have a pointer, a path set to that binary folder, I can then just run whatever executable is in that folder by typing in the name of the executable, since I have a path variable there. So path variables, environment variables. Hopefully that's the next slide. There we go. Path variables, environment variables are variables that you set in your system that tell your computer basically where to look to do stuff when you give it a command, right? And so if I type in like, go version, like it will start to look down all of my path variables in here. It'll start to look down all those variables and say, hello, do you know how to run Go code? Nope, sorry man, all we do is Java here. You got any Java stuff? I'm the Java SDK. No, I don't have Java stuff. I'm looking for Go. All right, can't help you. All right, talk to you later, bye. Right, and then you go down, the computer goes down the next path. It's like, hello, I'm trying to run some Go code. Do you know how to run Go code? Nope, all we do here is Python. We're a Python shop. We're watching Monty Python right now. Python, we're all about Python. Okay, can't help me with Go, can't help you with Go. Okay, then it finally goes down like the Go root, and it finds your Go source code, your SDK, it all knows how to run it. It's like, do you know how to run Go code? Yeah, man, I'm all about Go. Except it's probably more like this. Yeah, I'm all about Go. Let's go. It's really fast. And or if the executable is in this path right here, right, then it'll be like, hey, I'm trying to run the hello file. Do you have the hello file? Yeah, the hello file's right here. You want me to run it? And then run it, right? So how many people that's new to you? Path environment variables. Raise your hand. How many people? Okay, everybody else, all old hat. Awesome. How many people thought the description was good? Okay, cool. So Go is opinionated. You'll hear that when you're learning Go. And there's just certain ways you have to set it up. You can't just be willy-nilly about the way your code looks, and you can't be willy-nilly about the way your workspace is organized. You can, but you'll just create difficulties for yourself. So you just have to conform to a couple of things. And so one thing is you got to create a workspace. So you install Go, and that's going to go into like C drive, whatever, right at your root on Windows. Or on Mac, it will go into user local Go. That's what your install, right? So my install is just user local Go, and that's where Go is installed. The SDK user local Go. There's my SDK. That's all the binary that got installed. The SDK software development kit, right? When I installed Go, and then so I need that, and my Go root is going to point to that. That's my Go root, and then I'm also going to have a workspace. And I put my workspace, you can put wherever you want. I put mine in documents and I called it Go, right? So there's my workspace. And when I was putting these presentations together, I thought, well, hell, that's going to confuse people because I got my SDK and user local Go, and I have my workspace in documents Go, and people will be like, what? Go folder in the same place. Might get confused. So that's the way I have mine set up. I understand the difference. But when I was putting this together, I called it Go Workspace, just so you'd see that. And you could call this folder whatever you like. Mine will be called Go for the rest of this course. However, maybe not the best name, as this is also the name of the folder holding the Go program, the SDK.
I personally use Go code.
Q. I like that. Or Go dogs.
Can we have more than one paths for this Go code?
Yeah, I banged around with that too when I was first learning Go. Like, let me create a bunch of different workspaces. It's better to have one workspace, just one workspace. And the reason is,
You can, but
Yeah.
the first one's where Go does a lot of automatic stuff.
yeah, I love it. Technically spot on. Yeah, so you'll also your workspace will also be a place where other people's code goes, and so we're namespacing, having unique namespaces, and we want to be able to share our code with the world and receive code that others have shared with the world and use it, right? And so we want this sharing, and that means we have to have unique namespaces. Because if everybody in here was named Todd McLeod, then we'd all be really confused, right? Like, Todd, everybody, what, me? Right? We need unique names to identify things. And so Go does namespacing, by having, under your source folder, you're going to have some sort of a version control or some sort of a domain, right? So you can see different domains there. I've got source and I've got the domains. And then, inside the domain, like github.com goes to 11, and that's my GitHub username. There's also Julian Schmidt, and that's a GitHub person. And so I downloaded Julian's code to use Julian's code, and when it downloads, it gets stored right in my workspace. So I don't have to worry about Julian changing his code, and then, the code's no longer, I have that code. And so having just one folder is better. One workspace is better. So your workspace needs to have, the main thing that you need to take away from this is you got to have a workspace. Your Go path points to your workspace. So my Go path would be straight to Go. And, so here is Go E and V. And my Go path goes straight to users, TMO2 documents Go, right? That's mine. So if I was to do my Go path on this folder down here, it would be to Go workspace because that's what it's called. And then inside your workspace, you need to have package, bin, package, and source folders, just like that with those names. So that's where Go's opinionated, bin, package, and source folders. And then inside source, you need to have your github.com folder, and inside your github.com folder, you need to have a folder with your username. And inside that folder with your username, mine being goes to 11, you need to have your code, right? So you can just put all your code there. You can see I have projects, I have summer boot camp, so I have different code. And then that code will correspond with GitHub. If I want to push it up to GitHub, it all corresponds and it's all up on GitHub in the same fashion. So we know about path variables, and we talked about GoPath and GoRoot and what they point to. And GoPath's got to point to your workspace, and GoRoot points to GoLang source code. And how do you set your GoPath? You need to go in on a Mac and go in and look at your folders, and then mine is in. You could do bash profile or bash rc, and this is my bash profile. And it basically just gets all the code from bash rc, and so. Here is bash profile in Nano, just a larger view. And then here is my bash RC, and this is, you could have these in either full file. And my bash RC is those are the settings for Go right there. So I'm setting my Go root, my Go path, and I'm also adding a path to my path. And that's all you need. And that other stuff is just kind of interesting. If you want to learn more about the command line terminal, there's a great course on lynda.com using the terminal. And that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. Hey, new slides.
Yeah.
I gave Daniel access and said, add some stuff in. I think he's going to show us the Windows way. How many people, the terminal is like, I'm not so good with the terminal. You'd like a 5-minute review of terminal. Nobody? We're all good? Terminal? Cool. All right, Daniel, go for it.
So yeah, on Windows environment variables are easier in some way than Linux or Mac. You just search whatever version of Windows, you search it for environment variables, and you edit the system one, not your account, but system. Fairly important. So next slide. So that'll give you this window, which you click environment variables, and that'll give you here. So you want to put your Go root in system variables. Go path, however, I think was probably better in your user variables for your personal user account, because that would be just for you, as opposed to if you got someone else on the computer and they want to do Go stuff, they can have their own workspace separate from you and not have to worry about anything messing up or whatever. So next.
I love how you think things through.
Then system variables path, you're going to want to put the main Go bin so that you can get it in your terminal. You want it in system because this is the Go stuff itself. And then next slide.
Is the C Go bin, that's the SDK bin?
Yeah,
it's on your
it's
workspace
the same
bin?
as the Go root, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Except you want the bin folder because that's where the Go exe is.
All right. I thought that was taken care of by Go with Go root.
The Go root is being looked at by Go itself. Your terminal only looks at path, just plain
Okay.
path.
Windows.
Yeah. And then for your personal path, you're going to want to
There
put
we
your Go path bin.
Cool. The $sign is a variable symbol there.
Yep.
The workspace is organized for version control software like GitHub. And that's the actual Go terminology, your workspace. And so here, source GitHub goes to 11, right? That's the source folder of my workspace, but goes to 11. We already talked about that. So anyhow, here's a review. We learned about SHA-1 checksum, OpenSSL, SHA-1 full path, and Go version, and Go environment, and using Go commands, and Go help, and workspaces, and path variables, Go path, and Go root, and all that stuff. Anybody have any questions?
Can you browse through the path slide one more time?
The path slide?
Yeah.
Which path slide?
The last one.
PC or Windows?
Windows.
I mean, they're the same. Mac or Windows? Windows. Okay. So just search for environment variable.
Doesn't matter whether you're on 7, 8, or 10. It all works if you search for
I want to
environment
see
variable.
where we added paths.
And then you click on,
System
Environment.
variables. Next one. And the next one. Yeah.
Cool.
That one. So we are just adding 2 different paths to this path variable. One is the root one, and then the root one.
yeah, the main things is you want your Go path and your Go root, and Go root points to your SDK, and Go path points to your workspace. And then Daniel on Windows is adding in some other stuff, which is,
So yeah, adding the Go root path to system environment variables lets you actually put in the command Go, whereas this one here, Go path /bin in your user variables lets you run anything that you make yourself in your workspace in the terminal.
cool. Yeah, so, and these slides are all available, and we're here, so you can bring your laptop, and And after class, I don't know if there's another class coming in, but if there's not, we'll be able to hang out in here and help you with your computer or laptop. And if not, I don't know, we'll go to the library or find someplace.
I'm familiar with Linux too, so if you're running a Linux, it's slightly different from Mac, although very similar. So let me know.
All right, so there's some review questions, and this will be part of your homework. Let's see, assignments. So yeah, here we are. So you're gonna install Golang and show me that you have a GitHub repo, and then go in here and for presentation 1, question and answer. At the end here, we've got these review questions, and so you'll come in here and you'll answer these and just create a Google Drive document and type out your answer, and then submit the URL to the Google Drive document after you've shared it and in Blackboard. And so it's just to help you solidify these main concepts, and don't feel like you have to kill yourself or do things awesome. The main thing is for you to know it, and so that's the goal of the exercise, not to try to amaze me with your command of making things sound complex or using great words. I mean, just like write it so you understand it, and read about it, work with it until you do understand it, and say, oh, this is what's going on. It's like this. It's like that. It's like that. So however you want to say it, But the main thing is for you to understand it. All right, so that's the first presentation. Any other questions? Q.